this idea for a video rattling around in my head here for a little while. And I guess this is as good a time as any, since I have to go to work in a half hour. Try to get it out on camera and vomit some words. We'll see how it works. I don't do scripting or storyboarding or any crap like that. Sometimes things end up being way more of a rambling mess than I had anticipated. This may be that way, I don't know. What I want to talk about though is when you're playing bank pool, playing shape, or not playing shape. And I believe, and this is me, this is always me, all these videos I ever make are me, they're not, I don't read pros' minds and all that. And this is the way that I think about things and approach these things. So if you disagree, good for you. You might still be wrong though. Or I might be wrong. Kind of the whole point of this. There's a couple things that you always have to keep in mind when you're deciding if and how to play position when you're playing bank pool. The main thing, first thing that comes to mind, I think, is that bank shots are inherently difficult shots. For example, if I'm going to shoot this one straight into this pocket, I do not care how fast that one ball goes into that pocket, whether it's spinning, whether it's sliding. I don't care what the cue ball does or anything. None of that matters to the one going into the pocket. It's just going to go in. No matter what I do, if I hit it straight, it's going to go in. You know, line for spin and throw and all that bullshit, whatever. But if I want to bank this 14, I absolutely have to care how hard this 14 hits this rail, whether it's spinning and in which direction when it hits this rail. I absolutely have to. And if I don't, then I could miss the shot. So whereas with just a straight in shot, you don't have a lot of variables. You have to hit it accurately, and you have to be allowing for any squirt or throw, things like that. You have to do those things in bank pool too. But also in bank pool, you have to worry about what kind of spin is that object ball going to have. Is it going to be rolling? Is it going to be sliding? Left spin, right spin, and how hard are you hitting it? You have to worry, there's all these extra variables. This is why bank shots are inherently more difficult. So, absolutely I care. Because if I script in those variables, I can miss that shot. Don't like missing shots. The other thing about playing shape in banks, and it's very simple, it's the same concept as in a straight pool, is if I'm playing bank pool and I miss, and I played shape, I just played shape for my opponent. And it's the same thing as straight pool. If you play shape and you miss, your opponent can shoot the shot you just got done playing shape for. He's like, yay, thanks, dude. So I might have really, really bad examples. Let's say I have this 4, and I want, for some reason, is that the only shot I had? I guess I could bank the 11, but look, for some reason I'm going to bank the 4 back here. I have to decide, do I want to play shape to bank the 2 next, or bank the 5 next? Because if I miss this 4, then I just gave my opponent either the 2 or the 5. If I shoot a stop shot on this ball, maybe drift forward a little bit, I just played shape for my opponent. If I missed the 4, is the 4 a high enough percentage shot for me where I can do that and be confident about it? I think really the kind of the general rule of thumb is you almost never are supposed to shoot a straight back bank like this 4 and play shape for an easy bank. It's kind of the general rule. You'll see that, you know, on AccuStats and all that. But if I was really, really good at straight backs, or I had been really shooting well, or my opponent is horrible, I don't think he's going to be able to make anything anyway, then maybe I just get on this 4 and shoot a stop shot at it. Maybe. And then if it goes in, I just play shape for myself and I get to keep shooting. But if I missed, my opponent's got that opportunity. That's the second reason that you have to look at playing shape differently. If I'm playing bank-go again, I can bank this 15. That's a pretty darn easy shot. It's one of those shots you go, okay, this is an easy enough shot. I can definitely at least think about whether I want to play shape for something else. In this case, I could probably shoot a stop shot and shoot the 11 next. Let's say this ball's here. For me, this is tough. When the cue ball's on the rail like this, these are tough shots. So this shot is no longer a very high percentage shot for me. So do I want to try it anyway and play shape for something? I don't think I do. It's kind of the same situation with that straight back. This for me is a tough enough shot that I don't want to be trying to bank it and roll the cue ball out here for shape on the 11. I don't want to do that. In this case, maybe all I want to try to do is bank it softly. It's not going to. Good shot, Dave. And then I didn't really play any really easy shape for my opponent. It's tough to not leave any bank at all for your opponent. It's tough. But at least I didn't leave him right here. I just played a little bit of a two-way shot there on that. The other thing that I have to think about in playing shape for banks, if I decide I'm going to do it, this is an easy enough shot that I'm going to do it. Let me just go back to the same setup that I just had. In this case, I'm back to I could just shoot a stop shot. And then bank the 11 next. If the ball was up here a little bit, then I could just draw back a little bit. And then bank the 11 next. If my shot was like this, then I could just roll forward a little bit and bank the 11 next. Notice I'm not leaving the vertical axis of the cue ball at all. Because as soon as I leave the vertical axis of the cue ball, the shot becomes harder. And while right now, this 11 is a pretty high percentage shot for me, as soon as I start putting English on it, side spin on it, your mileage may vary, every player's different. For me, it's no longer a high percentage shot. It's still pretty good. This is a pretty simple example here, but if I stay on the vertical axis, then at least I don't have to worry about squirt and contact and just throw and all that other bullshit I was saying that makes bank shots inherently more tough. The only thing about that shot that made it more tough than a regular straight-in shot was just the speed. That's all it was on that. So when I'm playing shape and banks, I'm not playing shape to get this angle on the 2 so I can shoot a stop shot and then shoot the 5 next. I'm not doing things like that. And I don't think a lot of top players are either, although I'm not a mind reader and I haven't interviewed the top players and asked them, just from watching them play. What I do in this case, if I decide that I'm going to shoot this 11 and try to play shape for something, see, what can I do with vertical axis? In this case, I set myself up weird. Let's go right here. I can come down here and get a shot at something probably. And I think that's a lot of what the top bankers are doing, is they're not playing shape for the 2, for example, or for the 5 or the 3. They're like, well, if I get in here, I can probably make something and then go on to my next shot. A lot of times in bank pool, and I'm just looking at 2 balls, the ball I'm shooting and the next ball. And I may not even have a specific next ball. I don't want to get on a ball, so I get an angle to get on the next ball, so I get an angle to get on the next ball. Those bank shots are tough enough that none of that might happen. So like I got down here, I can make another shot. And I go through all the same things again. this two balls easy enough shot. Okay, yeah, I can play shape. What do I want to do? The easiest way to play shape is just shoot a stop shot and then bank to 5 next. I don't really have to think about anything else, but if I was really being anal, I could walk around and look and see and all that, but I don't. I can just get down here, shoot. Yep. Gotta make the ball, Dave. I put right English on that shot because I was a little bit worried about a kiss, about the two ball coming back and kissing the cue ball. I don't think it was even possible on the shot, but that's what I did. But, you know, the same damn thing. I don't want to have to be like, let's say I'm playing rotation. Just play a 9 ball. I don't want to be like, bad examples. If I'm playing 9 ball right here, I'm going to shoot the 1. I'm going to come over here and shoot the 3. Then I'm going to be worried about, or at least trying or thinking about, not getting straight in on the 3, because I got to come back across table for the 5. In bank pool, that's making the shot too complicated, I believe. I can vary my speed, and I can try or hope that I don't get straight in. But when I'm playing bank pool, the main thing I'm trying to do is just get over, okay, I can make another shot. Don't really care what the other shot is. There's really good speed control. You know how perfect you have to hit that shot to get 100% straight in? Pretty damn perfect. And I'm better than I thought I was, apparently. What was I yammering about? It was a bad example. But I think I kind of covered it in my other thing, where you just want to get where you can just make, you're probably going to get another shot, and you can make another shot, instead of trying to go insane on stuff and make the bank itself way more difficult. What's another example? I'm bad examples. Bad example. So I could shoot, if I've got this 11, this is pretty much lined up to be a straight bank. I can shoot this, if I want to play shape, because it's a fairly easy shot, it's okay, well, then I'm going to have this goofy ass straight back on the 15 maybe, if I get the right angle. To draw back, and I don't really have anything. Not really like that. Or I could put top right on this bank. And then the cue ball's going to fall up to here and come down. I'll probably get a shot at something. Don't know what, don't know which one, but I would probably get a shot. Now I just have to decide in my head, is putting top right on this bank worth the risk? And this is, you come down to everybody's different, every game situation is different. If I need all 3 of these balls to win the game, and my opponent only needs 1, I'm exactly going to shoot top right on this ball and come down. So this is a good opportunity to run out for me. If I only need 1 ball, that's another thing. Then it's a difference in bank pool, and I guess some other games too, where sure I could play shape off this 12, especially if the cue ball was about right here. Then I could just drift down. But why? I only need 1 ball, so we'll do that. In that case, if I only needed 1, I might even purposefully just draw the cue ball back. Gotta make balls, David. Never mentioned that I hate pool. Gotta make balls. I changed my mind, it didn't change my foot position. I might purposely do that. If I only needed the 1, made the shot and played safe. Back to my original example. Now I have to decide if I put top right on this ball to get shape, is it worth it? And this, again, where experience and everybody's different in game situations and all this matters. In this case, if I needed all 3 of these balls, then I'm doing that. Even though it makes the bank tougher, in my opinion, it doesn't make the bank so tough as to bypass or to pass up that opportunity that I had to potentially win the game. Let's see, a situation like this, I don't like being close to the rail at all. I'm not going to draw off this ball. I'm not. If the cue ball was out here, then I think I would be banking the 10. Again, vertical axis on the cue ball, banking the 10, and trying to draw like up in this area, where I could bank the 15 this way. But because I'm close to the rail, if I want to put bottom on, I have to jack up a little bit. These are horrible for me. I know that those are definitely weaknesses for me. In this stupid case, I think I just got to kind of punch the ball and maybe hope that the cue ball will do kind of one of these things. But if it doesn't, then it doesn't. Main focus always has to be put the bank in, because back to my first point, bank shots are hard. And I've talked in other videos about split brain syndrome. I can get that pretty bad. Really, especially on a shot like this, I don't really know what kind of shape I might get, and my subconscious doesn't like that. It wants to know what you're hoping to get. Even if what I'm hoping to get is this general area, my subconscious doesn't, if it doesn't see that happening, then it's still thinking about it while I'm still, half my brain's trying to make this 14, the other half is still trying to figure out how in the hell I'm going to get shape. Maybe that's just me. Maybe the whole split brain syndrome is just me. I don't know. Well, obviously the cue ball didn't make it around that shit, but I made the ball, and then we just shoot something again. Find something again and try to shoot it, and hopefully make it, and then that's it. So I think I covered what I wanted to cover. It's, I saw a video fairly recently about, and it was a guy who was trying to play some banks, and he would miss his shape by a couple of inches, and he was going, man, I got to work on getting that, getting shape. I missed that shape, and I personally thought that was just kind of a little bit the wrong approach. I think trying to get that pinpoint accuracy for position in a bank pool, I think it can be a little bit of a defeating strategy, because you can start worrying more about the shape than making a shot, and making a shot is what's tough. And if you missed a shot and you got this perfect shape that you was trying so hard to get, you just gave that perfect shape to your opponent because you missed the shot. It's just something to think about it. I know that, because every player has different talent levels and abilities and inclinations, and game scores dictate things. Whether or not there's a cluster over here, if I need, well, go back to my examples. But if there's a cluster over here there's no way in hell my opponent is ever going to run out. Even if I do take a flyer and miss, then maybe I do that. All these things are different. I do think these are things that you have to keep in mind, and just know what are you risking? What is the potential reward? Is it worth the risk to get that potential reward? And all this stuff you always have to think about in pool. In bank pool, there's just a couple of things. There's little nuances that are just different than they are in most other games. The main thing is that the shots themselves are difficult. And the other thing is that you're playing shape for your opponent if you miss. Which, like I said, straight pool has that as well. Probably other games have that as well. Three coaching billiards may have that. Actually, don't know if it would or not. Anyway, I just started rambling, so now I'm going to stop the camera.